Hello, Dude and Dudettes. This is Call Sign Scooty here from Real Dudes Podcast, and today I've decided to finally get out the Vietnam campaign for Fields of Fire, and gonna dive into that. At first, I really didn't know too much about what happened back in the mid '60s to early '70s. Only the basics, really. But not too much detail. I didn't really know the battles, didn't really know the dates of the battles or anything really that important. So I did a little bit of research for the last couple of weeks, mostly watching a lot of documentaries on, on the Vietnam War and kind of getting an idea of what the game is going to be trying to emulate when it comes to just the battlefield, just on the battlefield specifically. All right, so that's my introduction into this campaign. Hopefully it goes well. I hope I don't make too many mistakes because, again, in this campaign, it's not just dealing with your company, but you're also dealing with vehicles. And when I say vehicles, you're dealing with helicopters and lots of helicopters. So we'll see how that goes. Again, this is the first time I'm ever really playing this campaign. This is the first time I've actually gone out of the World War II campaign since I bought the game, because I stuck around that one heavily. Anything else that I can think of at this point in time? I don't think so. We'll go ahead and I'll walk you through with me how to set up the map in general, how to set up the company in general, and I've got most of everything set up on the company log, the company sheet, and pretty much have everything set up for the first mission and the first campaign. And I think that's it. So I'll show you all those things. I'll show you what I've done and walk you through that, and we'll see you on the table. All right, so welcome to basically the roster, and I like to call it the TO&E for the Vietnam campaign. So here we have our whole setup down here, exactly what we get. So in each platoon, we get 3 squads plus 2 weapon squads of the M60s. And we see these Cs, and for the C, it just means this. These are MG teams with the M60 icons and the UF of automatic weapons ratings. And since they're just regular machine gun teams, they don't have ammunition. And we can tell that by over here, because for our MG ammo, it's just per heavy machine gun, and we don't have that. Or else it would specify kind of like the World War II one does. All right, and just all the steps and the step maximum for our options. And what are our options? Well, we get this mortar team, but then this one, optional note of A. So we can have either an 81 millimeter mortar section with 3 steps, or we could have a 4th platoon with 2 understrength squads. And I chose option 2 because, again, this is kind of like an air assault kind of mission, and we have a lot of artillery support anyway, so we don't need to be bogged down with 81 millimeters. Plus, we already have one 60 millimeter mortar team, and that'll be fine. All right, so that makes my step limit go from 43 to 45, and the next thing too is note B. As you can see over here, where are all of our experiences. So we see we have some experience for our HQ XO first sergeant and our first platoon HQ, and one for our second platoon HQ and third platoon HQ, and then the rest you see note B. And what does note B mean? Down here we have we distribute experience points, or I distribute experience points from the following pool based on our steps that are left. So for the 45, I have 39 steps left. Let me use 37. In any case, it worked out anyway. It'll tell you how many green steps you get, how many line steps you get, and how many veteran steps you get to put into your company. And in the rule book, there's only a couple of times I'm going to say this, but in the rule book, it will tell you what exactly composes a veteran or a green line and a veteran unit based on the steps. So for instance, in the conversion, like if you have, 3 green steps, you put that into a squad, they're green. If you have like 2 line steps and then throw a green step in there, it's going to be a line overall. That's kind of how it works in the rule book. And actually, I have the rule book over there. But anyway, that's what this means. So you distribute your steps into your company. So I've kind of had some names generated for my company just to kind of make it slightly personal. So we have Captain Lee. He starts out as green. First Lieutenant Cobb is a line. First Sergeant Wolf, veteran. And then as you can see through my platoon here, Second Lieutenant Terry, line. Sergeant Malone, Sergeant Alley, Sergeant Rojas, Corporal Cooper, and Corporal Booth. You see line and green. And we just go down the line. And that's just my mortar section for just that one mortar team I have. So that's how I've set up the company sheet. And for the first mission, I've already put in all the fire support that we have. So we have some 105s, some 155s, and some mortars as well as a few airstrikes. And those are all the modifiers for how to use them. Battle modifier for the net combat modifier. Draws to get the burst icon for the cards for each type of unit. So we have the forward air controller, artillery, forward observer, mortar forward observer, company HQ, and platoon HQ. And what's cool about the Vietnam missions at this point, the platoon HQs can actually call in some fire support, as in World War II, it was really only the artillery, mortar, or the company. All right. Now that's how that's set up. And let's go ahead and see what we have in our table of equipment. And it's right here. So we have 10 radios, some flares. These are for forward air controller, the FAC, mortar, and arty. White phosphorus grenades, smoke grenades, and then our other color smoke grenades as well. And then we have 4 mortar ammo for that 1 mortar section. And then I set aside all the LZ markers that we're gonna need. And here's what I have for the mission in the company. So we have our leaders, 1st through 4th platoon, our HQ, XO, and 1st Sergeant, and then here are all my platoons. Right? And most of them are set up pretty much the same. I have 1st platoon, as you can see, and then here are those weapons teams for those M60s. Right. All right, and so that's 1, 2, and 3. For the 4th platoon, again, we have to have understrength squads. It's noted in the rulebook if you didn't catch it when I was looking at it. They can never be full strength 3-step units. They have to stay at 2-step units, because basically what we did was break down our mortar section and turn them into basically a squad with automatic weapons so that they can go and fight. And our 60mm mortar team that we could potentially use, but these guys, it's going to be different from the section, the 3-step section. For the 1-step section, they have to do a direct lay fire, so you can't just have them sit back and let somebody else observe for them. They have to observe the target themselves. So they have to put themselves in a line of fire if need be. And there are some cases where they can see through a field or something and do that, or they're on top of a hill or something. Right, so that's how the company's laid out, and this is what we get for the first mission. Right, we have 4 flights of Hueys, and we have just 1 flight of 2 Chinooks. And then down here is just like the Huey attack helicopter and the C-47, the attack C-47 Spooky. Just in case they get generated onto the map. And then on the other side of Spooky is the O2 for the air controller. Nice little resource there. All right, so that's what this is drawn out to, and that's how it's set up. And I'm going to show you how to set up the map here in a little bit, and then we'll talk about this whole business, because now with helicopters, you know, you're not going to have your entire company on the map when you start it. So you would just have like one flight of Hueys that go in, and then everybody else is going to be in the staging area, the pickup zone, and then when you start timing getting your soldiers onto the field, you have to time it to get them on, and then, you know, while the helicopters are on, you got to time them to get them off, and you just keep cycling that over and over and over again until you get everybody on the map. And then when you start evacuating casualties, you need your helicopters to be timed correctly to come in, land, pick up the casualties, and then exfiltrate, or however you want to call it. And then this is what this is for. So there are a few stages for the turns that it takes to get on and off the field. So from the pickup zone to the inbound zone is, you know, one turn. From the inbound zone onto the map is one turn. Then going back into the outbound zone is one turn, and then going to the outbound to the pickup zone is one turn. And if you don't want your inbound helicopters to go on the map just yet, you can always do loiter, and they'll loiter here for one turn, and they have to either go onto the map, or they go back into the outbound and then go back to the pickup zone. All right. So again, that's why I kind of avoided the Vietnam missions, because there's a lot more going on the field, a lot more that you need to worry about. And here, so we're going to try that. Oh yeah, and also we have, I didn't talk about these radios. So the PRC-25s, these are, I'm going to use these versus the field phones. And remember the field phones that we had for the World War II missions? We don't have to lay down, we don't have to lay down phone wire anymore, because these radios by default can communicate with anybody, anywhere on the map. So I'm using these radios. And then again, how do I know this? It's in the rule book. It'll tell you in the communication section exactly which radios do what. That's why I chose those. And I have 10 of those to distribute through my company. And I may need to distribute them to the leaders, the flight leaders, maybe. I have to double check, because I feel like they have their own radio systems. They should have their own radio systems that are automatically tied into the company TACnet. And yeah, I think that's what it should be. They're automatically set up. You don't have to give them radios or anything. They're just set up so they all can communicate with each other. Okay, now that was the introduction, and that was our table of equipment and how I organized my company. And now we're gonna test them in battle. All right, welcome back. So I've got everything out of the way here, and then all the potential contact markers are over here. We'll use those a little bit. Okay, now I've gotten everything all sorted out with our, oops, I forgot to assign all the smoke grenades. I'll do that later and figure out what orders I want to assign to all of those. But I just want to also show how to generate the map. So to begin, the mission states that we need to have a 5 columns by 5 rows, 5 by 5. And the unique thing about this one is, so we'll draw the first one. It's a hill, and then we draw another one. Okay, so this can be an LZ, depicted by this helicopter icon, I believe. All right, so that's our center one, okay? And then this will be our primary landing zone, and I'll just mark that now. So that's what we're gonna be landing to, a rice paddy on a hill, which actually might be okay. No, it probably wouldn't. This is probably bad already. All right, so that's the middle. This would be like the third column, or yeah, third column and third row. So how do we do this? Well, it's gonna be a little bit different because we have to build around this. And per the instructions, everything around this is revealed. What I mean by revealed, well, we'll just start building out around it. Anything that's on another hill, okay. Okay. Another hill. I don't really quite like how this is generating right now. Okay, that's not bad. Right. Okay, So right now we're 3 columns and 3 rows. So this is a column, columns, and this is rows. So we need it 5 across and 5 up. And now the rest of them are going to be revealed as we go there, per line of sight. So everything else is going to be face down. All right. Oops. Face down, like I said. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So we'll finish out these 3, and then we'll go these 3, and 3. Move this off to the side a little bit. We'll get rid of those later, and yep. Okay. All right. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And this, I guess, isn't particularly interesting. All right. So just to make sure I got this right, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So that's how the map is generated. Sort of. Because again, this is Vietnam, and this is our LZ, our landing zone, and that's where we're going to be start landing our troops there. Okay, and again, this is one of the biggest reasons why I love this game, because this map here is going to be random, and even though it's the first mission, if I replay this first mission, this would be completely different, and all of these would be completely different. And now, next thing that we need to talk about are the potential contacts, and those are the forces that we're trying to clear out in this area. Right. So because this is our landing zone, this will always be clear, so we don't do a potential contact there. And here are the instructions for our potential contacts. See, central LZ, don't place the marker. Others, yes. And the side, all of them in letters A, B, and C. So really all of our potential contacts that are here, we flip them over to the question mark side and shuffle them all, or mix them up all together. And we just start picking potential contacts. Again, you can see that they're marked A, B, and C. And again, that based on the last one that I did on YouTube, each package is different. When I did the second attempt, I couldn't quite see all of the other ones because I had cleared pretty much all the potential contact C's. So you'll see how this works, and I'll finish flipping these and be back. All right, so I got all of the potential contacts all shuffled together. I don't know what any of these are, and these are the instructions on where they go. So we just pick one random one, and they go on all of these cards except for this center one. All right, so it can be kind of haphazard, I suppose. Just picking one and throwing it down somewhere. Okay. Yeah, I saw that one. Okay. Oh dear. All right. Well, I didn't see that one. It was too quick. If somebody paused it somehow, if we got the, I don't know, best view. Anyway, let's continue on with this pile here. We're gonna make for an interesting mission. All right, and then what's our goal? Our goal mission is to clear at least 12 cards of the enemy, and let's see how much. Okay, so we don't have that much more to go. Clear at least 12 cards of the enemy, and that's it by the end of 10 turns. We have 10 turns to do that. All right. All right. So that's all the potential contacts except for the middle. The rest of these, they go away. Go back into a plastic bag. All right. Now this is set up. Our map is set up. And for these air assault missions, we have at least one flight ready to go onto the LZ, and we go from there. And how many people can they transport? Well, we see that in the parentheses, the number 3, that's how many steps the helicopter can carry. So thankfully, we can have our entire 2nd platoon. And why do I choose 2nd platoon? Because they have a veteran team, and since I had 10 radios, I actually assigned one to a squad so that when they're moved out, they can still keep in contact with the HQ, so they can still continue to move in advance and push through. And then for our staging area, the pickup zone, we are allowed to, put steps on or into a helicopter. So I have my platoons in these other 4 flights, and I have one Chinook carrying an entire platoon. And I'm not going to send them in quite just yet, because they can be hit by enemy fire, and that would be bad. Okay, so that's how this is set up, and per the rules, all these helicopters will be on top of the troops that they're transporting, and then we are ready to set up for turn 1. All right, so that is, I guess, the briefing for everything, and then we'll go ahead and go on to turn number 1, and we'll have the fun begin.